Welcome everyone to the 23rd episode of Conversations with T. This is T herself, and today's guest is a humanitarian as well as a community volunteer. I thought I was a productive individual, but after meeting her and learning about her works and accomplishments, yeah, she makes me feel like a human version of Snorlax. She's been very active with volunteering, so much so that she even received the Community Engagement Award in 2020. She got her BA degree in Mass Communication/English from the University of Qatar in 2013. She then received her MA degree in translation from Hamad bin Khalifa University in 2020. She's a full-time translation specialist and she's been offering translation services to different entities. I'm super excited to have her on my podcast, and she's none other than Miss Faten Ashour herself. How have you been?
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me over to take part in this valuable actually episode. I'm really happy to share my experience and to talk more about myself and about my activities in that field.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's such an honor to have you in my podcast show, and I really want to learn more about how you became the woman you are today. Um, do you want to tell the listeners and myself about how you managed to balance so many things at the same time? Because after I started following you on Instagram, I kept seeing your stories where you were collaborating with different individuals and you were also involved in with several projects. Yeah, how do you keep a balance despite being very busy?
Okay, to start up with, actually, okay, I always actually go with the idea or with the rule that says let's work smartly than just work hardly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna share my own experience as being a student and a student, I'm a student and an employee, a full-time employee at the same time, which is back 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2018, I have just made my mind up to have my MA degree in translation.
Mm-hmm.
So I have applied just to Hamad bin Khalifa University.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, actually, I was like doing two things at the same time. Actually, I'm talking about that period because
Mm-hmm.
it was like the most, let's say, or the highest pressure time I ever had
Okay, okay.
at that time. So I I don't even compare it to what I'm doing right now. What I'm doing now is just like something nothing. Okay.
Okay.
So at that time I was like doing literally two things at the same time. Both of these things or roles, let's say they were like completely different from each other.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, when you are doing, when you are like one of the staff or an employee in the morning, and then you are doing like a student's perspective in the evening. So, as you may know, that like the official working hours, at it goes around like 7 to 8 hours uh, daily. So I was like just going to my like official work from 7 to 2 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
I always leave my office at like 2 p.m., 2:30, and
Mm-hmm.
then I head directly to the university just to catch up with my class, which was starting, I mean, at 4 p.m. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes like 3 hours from 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. So literally I was like having only 1 hour when I arrived at, when I arrived at college, I arrived at 3 p.m., let's say. So I have only 1 hour to prepare myself um, to my lecture or to have my lunch or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really, really hectic. I was like, at the beginning, I was suffering a lot. So how can I just manage between two different things at the same time?
Yeah.
But I was like, sometimes when you are just being introduced to the idea of how working smartly. So if you want me just, and so frankly speaking, I was not doing any kind of assignments within the week.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, Hansa, which time I was just studying and looking into all my lecture preparation and my, assignment and so on.
Mhm.
Because I was not having time. I was not having time in the morning. In the morning, I was like busy working as an employee, a full-time employee, and then in the evening, I was like a full-time student at the same time.
That sounds
So
so
yeah, so I was exactly. So I was not having time at all. So I reach home at like let's say 8:30. All what I
hectic.
need to do is just to have my dinner and then just go straight to bed.
Mm,
So honestly, I was like making good advantage of the early morning time.
mm,
Like I was like spending only like two and a half hours in the early morning,
mhm,
just preparing to my everything for the day, So I was like, these two things actually I used to do them after Al-Fajr, when I just wake up to Al-Fajr praying
mhm,
for the brain. And then I start like, خلاص, manage my time to make good use of that 2 hours.
mhm.
You never know, Tahanza, how that 2 hours were so powerful. They were like as long as 10 hours. You don't, yani there are like really, really, there's something magic about these 2 hours.
Yeah, I
In the
can
early morning,
sense like when you're like during those 2 hours when you're not busy, you just feel like, okay, I have time, I can really take advantage of this. So let me do XYZ. Was that your way of thinking when that happened?
yeah, exactly. I used to sit in the early morning after I finish Al-Fajr. Let's say I have like 2 hours before I just get ready to my work. So I make good advantage of that time. It's really so productive. It's so early. Your brain is so fresh. You feel like you are full of energy. You are capable to do whatever you want. So I made good use of that time. I was just preparing my assignments, my lectures preparations, or whatever tests, and so on. So I've been asked by so many students, "Oh, Faten, you are," I mean, like my colleagues, they were like kind of only full-time students. They were not like working. They said like they were like saying, if we were like in your shoes, maybe we wouldn't be able to do it, Faten. So they were like just consulting me how you have just find time to do such a thing at the same time.
Like
So
I, you go on, go
yeah,
on.
yeah, go on.
Oh no, I just want to say that I have a huge smile on my face and well done for being so productive, so self-disciplined, and not everyone can do what you did. So yeah, nice job. And I really hope you keep this good habit up. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. I would also like to add that it's a huge blessing, honestly, to be busy with doing things that we're passionate about because our days feel more meaningful, We would keep working on our goals and we would grow as individuals and we would
Mhm.
also learn how to really get our priorities straight. And I actually want to hear a story about how you became so active in the volunteering field, so much so that you received the Community Engagement Award. To me, that's a huge accomplishment, and I'm very proud of you for that. Please do go ahead and tell the listeners and myself about your journey.
Sure thing. So at the level of community engagement, I would say like I'm always thrilled, to be honest, to involve and to take part of any community engagement, whatever these activities are.
Mhm,
No matter what these activities are, whether they are like related to my professional experience or anything that could match my capabilities or the thing that I can do or the thing I'm interested in, I'm always happy to be part of that thing, because like being part of community is something that you have to take like a responsibility. So you
mhm,
are part of that community, so you have to show like um, how you belong to that community.
mhm,
So I'm always thrilled about the idea how to be community engagement,
mhm,
active actually community engagement. So it started in 2013, to be honest,
mhm,
long time ago, let's say almost 10 years, when I
mhm,
was like doing my bachelor degree at Qatar University. We were engaging within the community. I mean, like the campus community, doing any kind of volunteers related to organizing conferences. But I was at that time I was a big fan of like providing my assistance to the most vulnerable, let's say, community or group. So at that time, I always like thrilled about that idea. When you can help, try to target those who are in a real need, you know. So at that time, I was like engaging with the special needs center at the university.
Okay.
Yes, yeah. So it started from there. Actually, the whole journey has started from there. So I was like helping them, whether at their academic level or their activities. So at the level of their academics, you know, sometimes we were like having um, difficulty hearings. I mean, like students with difficulty hearings, students with like they have like vision destroyed. Let's say they are like completely destroyed, having like a destroyed vision, you know. So when they are like, you know, they are just doing their exams or tests, they need someone just to read these questions to them, whatever they are, whether they are in Arabic or they are in English. So I was like taking part in this thing particular, to be honest, to help them just to, let's say, to say these questions to them, and then they just say the answers, and then I write what they have just said, you know. So we were like, I was like engaging a lot in that thing, and of course other activities related to my college, to my university at whole, and so on. Also, we were like engaging with the donation issues related to the most suffering communities worldwide, and so on. And then this moves with me. Then when I just graduated from Qatar University, I've been like exposure to so many, let's say, at the local level, but with so many entities, with so many like NGOs, organizations that they are really looking for the volunteers all the time. So I was like part of these, let's say, NGOs and organizations. And then when I just joined HBKU, this thing has continued actually with me when I just joined like HBKU in 2018. And I started like doing the same thing whenever there is like a need or a help for volunteers. You will see me there all the time.
Wow.
So I was not actually preparing to any award. I was not preparing to anything. I was not preparing. I was not just doing this for any reason, but I was like doing this from the motive of being part of my community, to have like to have a feeling of being responsible, you know, and so on. So it has started from 2013 up to this date.
Faten, you're amazing. That's just wow, very inspirational. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. It's not every day that we hear stories of people being consistent with working on their passions and goals and then to receive an award after working so hard. In your Instagram bio, you also mentioned that you were an active UN volunteer member. Do you want to talk more about that as well with myself and the listeners?
Oh yeah, sure. As for the volunteer, as I have just said, I was part of different entities, different activities, even during, I mean, like the championship that we have just launched in Qatar, which is the World Cup championship. I was part also of FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, and doing so many, you know, related, especially like we have initiated such an initiative with a group of, I mean, like Qatari people, where we just welcome our guests and the World Cup guests and visitors to the culture of the Qatari culture, actually. And I was part of some other entities to provide my, you know, my experience as being a translation specialist. Plus, I'm still like doing such a great role in being part of also some of the global, let's say, agencies.
Mhm.
يعني I became also an active volunteer member of UN,
Mhm.
like I mean 4 years ago,
Mhm.
and yeah, it's part of my my, you know, my talent, and it's part of my motivation.
Like that's just wow, you have accomplished so many things and I'm just very impressed. Thank you. Thank you again for sharing all of that with myself and the listeners. I I do hope that we can learn more. Like I do hope that we can become more productive and more giving like you sometime in the future, inshallah. Um,
So,
so I think that's all for today. Thank you so much again for being a guest in my podcast, and I hope the rest of your evening goes well. Thank you and take care. Bye bye.
thank you, Tanza. Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving me this opportunity actually to be part of this episode.